Unseen Europe. Cities that changed history. Hook and introduction, 0 o'clock to 1:15. What if I told you the true birthplace of democracy wasn't Athens? Or that the city that gave us modern science isn't the one you're thinking of? Prepare to have your understanding of European history shattered, as we uncover the forgotten cities that really changed the world. You'll never look at a map the same way again. What's up, history hunters? Welcome back to Magnificent Must-Sees. I'm about to take you on a journey through Europe's most underrated cities. Places that shaped civilization as we know it, yet remain hidden from mainstream tourism. These aren't just beautiful destinations. They're the secret laboratories where democracy, science, art, and human rights were actually born. I've spent months researching cities that textbooks ignore, but that fundamentally changed how we live today. From a Balkan port that invented religious tolerance, to a German town that created the printing press revolution, these forgotten powerhouses will completely rewrite your understanding of European history. But here's what will blow your mind. While millions of tourists crowd the obvious historical sites, these world-changing cities remain peaceful, affordable, and authentic. The revelation I share at the end will explain why these cities were deliberately erased from popular history, and why that makes them even more important to visit today. Plovdiv, Bulgaria, the democracy pioneer. Our first history-changing city will shatter everything you think you know about democracy's origins. While everyone credits Athens, Plovdiv has been continuously inhabited for over 8,000 years, making it one of the oldest cities in Europe. And it was practicing democratic principles centuries before Athens was even founded. The ancient Thracians who built Plovdiv created a form of tribal democracy that influenced Greek political thought. When Philip II of Macedon conquered this city in 342 BC, he renamed it Philippopolis, recognizing its strategic importance as a center of political innovation. The Romans later called it Tremontium, and it became one of the most important cities in the Eastern Roman Empire. But here's what makes Plovdiv truly revolutionary. The Roman theater here isn't just ancient ruins. It's still functioning after 2,000 years, hosting performances that connect modern audiences to ancient democratic traditions. Sitting in these marble seats, you're experiencing democracy in action exactly as the ancients intended. The Old Town's architecture tells the story of how democratic ideals survived through different empires. Bulgarian national revival houses from the 19th century show how local communities maintained their cultural identity and self-governance, even under Ottoman rule. These colorful wooden houses with their distinctive bay windows represent architectural democracy, each family expressing their individuality while contributing to a harmonious whole. The Kapana district represents modern democracy in action. This former craftsman's quarter has been transformed by local artists and entrepreneurs into a vibrant cultural center, showing how communities can democratically reshape their neighborhoods while preserving historical character. What makes Plovdiv's democratic legacy special is that it's not just historical, it's living. The city continues to practice the kind of community-based decision-making that influenced the development of democratic thought throughout Europe. Mainz, Germany. The Information Revolution, 345 to 615. Mainz changed the world more than any other city in human history, yet most travelers have never heard of it. This is where Johannes Gutenberg invented the printing press around 1440, creating the information revolution that made the Renaissance, Reformation, and Enlightenment possible. Before Gutenberg, books were hand-copied by monks, making them incredibly expensive and rare. A single Bible cost as much as a house. Gutenberg's movable type printing press made books affordable for ordinary people, democratizing knowledge in ways that transformed human civilization forever. The Gutenberg Museum here isn't just a museum. It's the shrine of the information age. You can see original Gutenberg Bibles, watch demonstrations of medieval printing techniques, and understand how this one invention changed everything from religion to science to politics. The museum houses two of only 49 surviving Gutenberg Bibles, worth over $25 million each. But here's what will blow your mind. Mainz's printing revolution wasn't just about technology, it was about courage. Gutenberg risked everything to develop his printing press, going into massive debt and facing opposition from religious authorities who wanted to control information. His workshop was literally a startup that changed the world. The St. Stephen's Church contains something incredible. Stained glass windows designed by Marc Chagall in the 1970s and 80s. These brilliant blue windows represent the continuation of Mainz's tradition of innovation, showing how the city that invented mass communication continues to push artistic boundaries. The Roman heritage here is equally impressive. Mainz was founded by the Romans in 13 BC as Mogontiacum, and it became one of the most important military bases on the Rhine frontier. The Roman theater ruins and the Museum of Ancient Seafaring show how this city was a center of Roman power and innovation long before Gutenberg. Walking through Mainz today, you can see how the printing revolution transformed not just this city, but the entire world. The university here continues the tradition of learning and innovation that Gutenberg started over 500 years ago. Ghent, Belgium, the Workers' Rights Revolution, 615 to 845. Ghent is where the modern concept of workers' rights was born, yet this Belgian city remains overshadowed by Brussels and Bruges. In the 14th century, Ghent was one of the largest cities in Europe, and it was here that ordinary workers first organized to demand fair treatment from their rulers. The Castle of the Counts isn't just a medieval fortress. It's where some of the most important labor negotiations in European history took place. The guilds of Ghent were so powerful that they could challenge kings and emperors, creating the first examples of organized labor movements that would eventually spread across the world. Jacob van Artevelde, known as the Wise Man of Ghent, led the city's resistance against French domination in the 14th century. His statue in Friday Market Square commemorates one of the first examples of democratic resistance to royal authority. Van Artevelde's ideas about citizen rights and economic independence influenced political thought throughout medieval Europe. But here's what makes Ghent's revolutionary legacy incredible. The city's textile industry created the world's first industrial working class. The weavers, dyers, and cloth merchants of Ghent developed sophisticated systems of quality control, fair wages, and worker protection. That became models for industrial cities across Europe. St. Bavo's Cathedral houses the Ghent altarpiece, one of the most important paintings in art history. This masterpiece by the Van Eyck brothers represents the pinnacle of Flemish art, but it also tells the story of how Ghent's wealth from textile production funded the Renaissance art movement. The Gravenstein Castle's torture chamber and dungeon remind visitors that workers' rights weren't won easily. The conflicts between Ghent's guilds and various rulers were often violent, but they established principles of worker organization and collective bargaining that form the foundation of modern labor movements. Today, Ghent continues its tradition of social innovation. The city has implemented progressive environmental policies, supports cooperative businesses, and maintains a strong tradition of community organizing. That traces directly back to its medieval guild system. Matera, Italy, the urban planning revolution. Matera will completely change how you think about sustainable urban development. This ancient city in southern Italy has been continuously inhabited for over 9,000 years, making it one of the oldest continuously inhabited settlements in the world. But what makes Matera revolutionary isn't its age. It's how it solved urban planning problems that modern cities still struggle with. The Sassi districts, ancient cave dwellings carved into limestone cliffs, represent one of the most sophisticated examples of sustainable architecture ever created. These weren't primitive caves. They were complex urban systems with sophisticated water collection, waste management, and climate control that worked perfectly for thousands of years. The rock churches scattered throughout the Sassi contain Byzantine frescoes that rival anything in Constantinople. Over 150 rock churches were carved into the cliffs, creating a three-dimensional religious landscape that shows how communities can integrate spiritual life into urban planning. But here's what makes Matera's urban planning revolutionary. The city was designed to work with nature rather than against it. The cave dwellings maintain constant temperatures year-round without heating or cooling. The water collection systems harvest rainwater so efficiently that the city never experienced water shortages, even during droughts that devastated other Mediterranean cities. The transformation of Matera from Shame of Italy in the 1950s to European capital of culture in 2019 shows how ancient wisdom can inform modern urban development. The restoration of the Sassi has become a model for sustainable heritage preservation. That's being studied by urban planners worldwide. Walking through the Sassi at sunrise or sunset, when the limestone glows golden and the ancient streets come alive with shadows and light, you'll understand why this place has inspired artists, filmmakers, and architects for generations. This isn't just a tourist attraction. It's a masterclass in how humans can live in harmony with their environment. Tallinn, Estonia. The Digital Revolution Birthplace, 1115 to 1345. Tallinn is where the digital revolution actually began. Yet this Baltic capital remains one of Europe's most underrated cities. While everyone talks about Silicon Valley, Tallinn quietly became the world's most digitally advanced society, creating innovations that changed how the entire world communicates and conducts business. This is where Skype was invented in 2003, revolutionizing global communication and proving that world-changing technology doesn't have to come from California. The Skype headquarters building in Tallinn's tech district shows how this small Baltic nation became a global technology leader, but Skype was just the beginning. Estonia became the first country in the world to offer e-residency, allowing anyone to become a digital resident and start a business online. Over 100,000 people from 170 countries have become e-residents of Estonia, creating a new model for digital citizenship that other nations are now copying. The medieval Old Town provides an incredible contrast to this digital innovation. Walking through cobblestone streets that date back to the 13th century, while using some of the world's most advanced digital services creates a unique experience of past and future coexisting. Toompea Castle, which houses the Estonian parliament, is where some of the most progressive digital governance laws in the world have been passed. Estonia's digital society allows citizens to vote online, file taxes in minutes, and access government services 24/7 from anywhere in the world. The Alexander Nevsky Cathedral and medieval city walls remind you that this digital pioneer has deep historical roots. The contrast between ancient stone towers and cutting-edge technology creates a unique atmosphere, where innovation builds on tradition rather than replacing it. Here's the insider secret. Tallinn offers some of the fastest and most reliable internet in the world, making it a paradise for digital nomads and remote workers. You can work from medieval cafes with internet speeds that shame most major cities. Setting the thematic connection. Here's the pattern that connects all these history-changing cities. They were all willing to challenge the status quo when it mattered most. Plovdiv challenged the idea that only Greeks could practice democracy. Mainz challenged the monopoly on information. Ghent challenged the absolute power of kings. Matera challenged the assumption that cities must fight against nature. Tallinn challenged the idea that government must be slow and bureaucratic. These cities didn't just witness history. They created it by being brave enough to try new ideas when the rest of the world was stuck in old patterns. They proved that the most important changes in human civilization often happen in unexpected places, driven by ordinary people who refuse to accept that this is how things have always been done. The reason these cities remain hidden from mainstream tourism isn't accidental. It's because their stories challenge comfortable narratives about how progress happens. They show that innovation comes from the margins, that small cities can change the world, and that the most important historical sites aren't always the most famous ones. Warm golden light. These 5 cities prove that the most transformative travel experiences come from places that challenged history, rather than just witnessed it. Each one offers authentic cultural experiences, incredible value for money, and the chance to walk where world-changing ideas were born. Here's my challenge. Choose one of these history-changing cities and experience it not just as a tourist, but as someone seeking to understand how ordinary places create extraordinary change. Stay long enough to absorb the atmosphere, talk to locals who are proud of their revolutionary heritage, and let these cities inspire you to think differently about your own potential to create change. Which of these forgotten history makers surprised you most? Drop a comment below and tell me which city you want to explore first. I read every comment and love helping people plan their own history-changing adventures. If this video changed how you see European history, smash that subscribe button for more hidden gems that will transform your understanding of the world. Until next time, keep exploring the places where history was actually made.